Hey, welcome back to Banking Ninjas Can't Stop Talking. Happy Wednesday, February 12th. We made it. It's hump day. Quick housekeeping for you. Yes, it is dark. If you are watching this on YouTube, I told you yesterday that I was going to have to start going back into the office for the first time since releasing these daily podcasts. I get home when it's dark. I don't know what to tell you. So I do have one task for you. If you are like a consistent listener, can you comment somewhere, either like on the podcast itself or on the YouTube feed or whatever you might feel comfortable doing, if you are okay with these being a little later? I don't know when you listen to them. I don't get those insights on any of these platforms. So if you are like listening to it at 7 a.m., me posting a little bit later doesn't really matter to you. But if you're listening and like waiting online for like the 6 p.m. drop every single day, this might actually impact you. So let me know. That is my one homework assignment for you. The other housekeeping item is my throat might sound a little scratchy. I'm trying to fight what I fear might be a seasonal weather change cold. It got really cold really fast here in Seattle. And so I think with that temperature drop, as happens to some, myself included, your colds might just spring up seasonally. So ignore the voice if it changes between different news stories because I might be taking a sip of my tea. But the benefit to this being later is that I actually have a lot more news to cover with you because I'm filming it later in the afternoon. So starting off with what happened the night of Tuesday after we logged off last time, at 5:20 p.m., the FBI said that it found 2,400 new JFK assassination records that they hadn't looked into before. 5:31 p.m., Halle Bailey announced a new song called Back and Forth that will come out on Valentine's Day. At 5:40 p.m., the Department of Education asked the NCAA and high schools to erase records set by trans athletes because now that they've gotten what they wanted, which is trans women out of women's sports, they obviously had to find a new issue to harp on so that this could continue to be in the public discussion so they can literally just keep using it for like trying to get reelected. And you might be asking, okay, fine, once these inevitably get taken down because that's what Trump wants, what is the next frontier for these bigots? Well, you can say you heard it here first. I know that they're going to bring back bathroom bills. They're going to bring those back because the next discussion is going to be, well, now the women in the bathrooms shouldn't be worried about trans women in the bathroom. So just, you know, I'm just saying, and I'm very rarely wrong about anything. At 6:55 p.m., the Department of Homeland, you guys, I've tried to say this 6 times, I'm about to crash out. The Department of Homeland Security, as part of an evaluation of its election security mission, disinformation, and foreign influence operations aimed at U.S. elections have been placed on administrative leave. Why would these people be placed on administrative leave? We might be asking ourselves, but I'm not going to dig into conspiracy theories, but we are all answering with the same answer, right? 7 p.m., ex-San Francisco 49ers player Dana Stubblefield was freed from prison after his rape conviction was overturned. 7:08 p.m., North Korea released a statement denouncing Trump's proposal for the U.S. to take over Gaza. And you know if North Korea is against it, it is probably a bad plan. 9 p.m., the Pope accepted the resignation of a Peruvian bishop accused of ignoring abuse. This is a good step for the Catholic Church. I will take a win where I can get it. At 9:07 p.m., basketball player Kevin Durant became the 8th player in the NBA history to score 30,000 points. And he's not done yet, so that's crazy. 10:42 p.m., Mandy Moore slammed Amazon on Instagram for allegedly delivering a package to her in-laws' home that was destroyed by the LA fires. I don't know about you. If you can see this picture, there is something super dystopian about the whole thing. The whole idea, even if it's like a joke, really dystopian looking. And at 11:40 p.m., Apple changed the Gulf of Mexico officially to the Gulf of America on their maps. Okay, let's crack into Wednesday. 2:53 a.m., Russia confirmed that a Russian criminal convicted of conspiracy to commit money laundering and arrested by the U.S. on cryptocurrency fraud charges was the person that they exchanged in the prisoner swap with the U.S.-American teacher yesterday. The one that, you know, when asked, oh yeah, what did Russia get out of this? Trump's like, no, not a lot. Well, they got a literal criminal who was doing fraud and money laundering. So 3:03 a.m., there is a Danish petition. It is kind of hee-hee-ha-ha floating around petitioning to buy California and bringing Heidi to Hollywood in response to Trump's talk about buying Greenland. At 3:29 a.m., the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees list has been released. It includes Bad Company, The Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joe Division / New Order. I'm assuming that's a co-band. I don't know. Cyndi Lauper, Mana, Oasis, Outkast, Fish, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. At 4:08 a.m., TikTok star Bailey Hutchins died at 26 years old, 2 years after her colon cancer diagnosis. At 5:37 a.m., we found out that inflation increased in January, with consumer prices raising 3% from a year ago today. This would make it the highest level since June 2024, which manifested in an S&P 500 futures drop of over 1%.
Starting on day one of my new administration, we will end inflation and we will make America affordable again because the prices are too high. The prices are too high.
Oop. At 6 a.m., we learned that Spirit Airlines has rejected a takeover bid from their rival airline Frontier Airlines for the third time. 6:30 a.m., Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has outlined what a Russia-Ukraine-United States negotiated settlement might look like to end the war over there before negotiations have even begun. And I'm just going to play the statement so you know that where the starting point is, and we can just check back in on all of this later.
Like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective. The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement. Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops.
At 7:21 a.m., 8 inspectors general fired by Donald Trump filed a federal lawsuit claiming their terminations were illegal, which technically they were since he was supposed to give 30 days notice to Congress that he was going to fire inspectors general. Like, this is just pretty basic stuff, even so much so that top Republicans criticized it. At 8:28 a.m., the Backstreet Boys announced a summer residency at the Spheres in Las Vegas. 8:43 a.m., former Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate turned Republican Tulsi Gabbard officially was confirmed as Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence, 52-48, with all the Democrats voting no and only one Republican voting no. It just happens to be Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. God, the day that I'm on the side of Mitch McConnell. At 9:05 a.m., county officials in Springfield, Illinois have agreed to pay $10 million settlement to the family of Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old black woman shot and killed in her home last summer by a sheriff's deputy responding to her call for help. At 10:36 a.m., McDonald's announced that they are expanding their menu with the return of favorites, the Snack Wrap and the Chicken Big Mac. At 10:58 a.m., Diddy filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC and Peacock for its documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. At 11:45 a.m., Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders announced that he is launching a national tour to fight oligarchy beginning this weekend in Omaha and Iowa City, where he'll go to working-class districts won by Biden in 2020 and currently being held by a Republican House member in 2024. This is good news. This is what people need to be doing, is getting out and just talking to people a full year and, 10 months ahead of the midterms, but a full, almost 4 years ahead of the 28 elections. That's how you build back trust with people. Get in the communities. At 10:51 a.m., a fighter jet crashed into the San Diego harbor once again. What the fuck is happening with all of these planes crashing? At 12:43 p.m., Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, yes, the one that was the planner of January 6th that Donald Trump pardoned 3 weeks ago, told the Miami New Times that he's considering a run for Congress in former Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz's old district. Yes, that Matt Gaetz, the man who notoriously quit his nomination for Attorney General of the United States because the Congressional Ethics Committee was releasing a bipartisan report that found that he had, quote, you can't see me doing the air quotes, dated underage girls. You see what happens when you show the worst people in America that they can do whatever they want and their behavior is okay even when it's bad, and that there's absolutely no consequences or accountability for their actions. They become congresspeople. At 12:58 p.m., according to Dropsite News, who reviewed some publicly available procurement documents, Tesla, yes, Elon Musk's company Tesla, is set to win the largest State Department contract of 2025, costing $400 million for armored Teslas. And yet, the entire Trump administration continues to say that if there were a conflict of interest with Elon Musk just randomly scrapping programs so that his would benefit, he would just point them out himself.
With Spectrum News, you talked a bit about Doge. Elon Musk is currently a, quote, special government employee who also owns companies that have billions of dollars in federal contracts. You said earlier this week that he has abided by all applicable federal laws, but what steps is the Trump administration taking to address that conflict of interest?
The president was already asked and answered this question this week, and he said if Elon Musk comes across a conflict of interest with the contracts and the funding that Doge is overseeing, then Elon will excuse himself from those contracts. And he has, again, abided by all applicable laws.
At 1:40 p.m., a federal appeals court upheld singer R. Kelly's convictions and 30-year prison term. At 2:15 p.m., Trump Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the Department of Justice has filed charges against the state of New York Governor Kathy Hochul, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and Mark Schroeder, whoever that is, over their alleged resistance to supporting the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration.
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment.
2:44 p.m., former Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl winner Kadarius Toney was arrested and accused of strangling a woman, so that's not great. And at 4:16 p.m., Taylor Lautner, for all of you Twilight fans, is returning to his werewolf roots in an upcoming show by Amazon and MGM called Taylor Lautner, Werewolf Hunter. And hear me out. If I ever on this podcast have a guest, I'm going to have the first one be Taylor Lautner coming on and talking about his new show called Taylor Lautner, Werewolf Hunter. I'm just going to need that to happen. That's it. That's all the news for today. February. Clearly the sickness is coming to my head. February 12th, a Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow. We're going to be doing this all over again late because I got to be in the office. Okay. Until then, you can find me on social media. I'm on TikTok and YouTube at I've Been Traveling. I'm on Instagram and Threads at Ben Keenan. You can find me on my podcast, Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Ben Keenan Just Can't Stop Talking. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.